Good afternoon. Any arrests? It's funny we mentioned that.
I
That's
highly
exactly.
doubt there have been any arrests. I'm very I don't think even cynical is the right word for this, for my feelings about all of it. I just feel like when you try to get the government to hold the government accountable, that never really works out.
Yeah, it hasn't been, and it hasn't gone our way in decades, and I don't know if it ever will. And there's people all over the spectrum of the hopium dealers and trust the plan, and everything's going to work out, to the very pessimists that just think nothing will ever happen. And each opinion is valid. I'm trying to be cautiously optimistic because there are a lot of good developments happening. However, there's been some setbacks along the way as well. And the Babylon Bee is having a little fun here with that. So click here for a updated number of corrupt government officials who have been arrested for Russia collusion hoax. And so far, the counter stuck on 0. We're still waiting, which is, I know TK Mark is not as patient as some, but I can't blame him. It does feel like it's two tiers here, and that the elites are just going to rule over the peasant class forever. But so I don't. Where do you sit, Gene, on this particular topic?
On the Russiagate in
And just
general,
if you think that there's ever going to be people held accountable, not to hold your feet to the fire, but where do you think the Russiagate thing is going to go? You think that's going
you
to
know,
lead to finally to break through and arrest somebody that high profile, or is it going to go away like all the rest?
I think it's just going to go away like all the rest, but once it serves its full purpose. And I think that purpose is just distraction, to be honest. Like, ever since the beginning of all that, um, when I was living in Los Angeles at the time when all that began, and all these, surrounded by a lot of leftists and a lot of woke people, and they were convinced that this was going to be the thing that impeaches Trump and gets rid of him. To me, it's all professional wrestling. It's just a big distraction keep everybody caught up in this, thinking that the the side that you don't agree with, they're going to be held accountable. They're going to go to jail. They're going to get arrested. The way the lefties look at Trump and they're like, Trump's a convict and he's going to eventually be behind bars. And then the people on the right and the Qs and stuff that think Obama and the Clintons are going to be put before a military tribunal. I hate to break it to everybody, but I don't. Neither of those things is going to happen. Um, and I think, I would just think there's a two-party illusion. I think it's the illusion of choice. And I think behind closed doors, probably the Obamas and the Trumps are throwing back drinks together and going golfing. I mean, I definitely know he was with the Clintons. I mean, he was very buddy. I mean, he even donated, tons of money to Hillary's campaign.
Yeah, he definitely kind of plays both sides, and it's debatable. Do you think Trump is part of that establishment, which I'm not exactly 100%? Just to going back a little bit, because I've always looked at it as, you're right. It's a two-party system that works together, where it doesn't matter if you vote for Obama or Hillary or Jeb Bush or Marco Rubio or Mitt Romney, what have you, because they control all of the candidates. But a lot of people do see Trump as potentially his own man. He is an outsider, although he does, play ball with the two political parties. It seems like they're also trying to destroy him. And then going into the the Russiagate thing, it's like they absolutely kneecapped him, tried to sabotage him, have done all the lawfare, and then tried to blow his head off.
Well, even that's debatable, right? I mean,
Right.
if you want to look at everything with a suspicious or with a skeptical mind, I should say, I mean, all that is a lot of that is up for debate. But like,
Sure.
I think I think the president has very limited power. And I think they are just a figurehead. And I think you are so compromised and controlled by the time you get to the office of president that I don't think you really have any power to change things to any magnitude. And I think, when the last time somebody tried that was in that position was JFK, and they blew his brains out in broad daylight in Dallas. I think that was the
Right.
last time we had a president that went off script. And ever since, they are completely controlled. And I think Trump is no different. I do think, I get he's presented as being this outsider that's going to shake up the system and drain the swamp, but he hasn't done any of those things. And if you look back, I mean, he still brags about the COVID vaccine, which has killed or harmed countless people, millions of people, literally millions of people have either been killed or harmed by those injections. He still brags about them. He still takes credit for them. And even COVID, all the insanity of COVID, which was the greatest government overreach that we've seen in our lifetime, and probably the most insane government overreach since like the internment camps of World War II, in even a larger magnitude, because they locked everybody up, and they shuttered churches. They made you show papers in some places to go, to go shopping, to go to a restaurant. It was insane to see a ban, and all that happened. The bulk of that happened. The whole COVID hoax, in my opinion, happened during Trump's last term, his first term. And I think it would have been a much different outcome and a different response from the public if Hillary Clinton had been president and they tried to pull those lockdowns and all the COVID insanity. I think it would have been a much different reaction from the public. But because there were so many people on the right and so many libertarian-minded people that saw Trump as being in their camp, that he was going to look out for them, and he was fighting against, the deep state and all these, but he wasn't. I mean, Fauci was the head of his coronavirus task force, along with Deborah Birx. He awarded Fauci, a Medal of Honor before he left office. I mean, those are the inconvenient truths to the people that want to support Trump and want to believe in him as the savior. But the reality is no one's coming to save us. Like, we have to save ourselves. We have to organize on local levels. We have to create our own parallel systems, because there's no politician that's going to save us. And I think if we could really change anything by voting, it would be illegal. They wouldn't let us do it. They let us do it because it gives us the illusion of choice and the illusion that we can influence things at the ballot box. I really don't think we can. Maybe minimally on a local level, on a small level, but when it comes to president, no, I don't think so.
Okay, no, I mean, I guess I'll agree to disagree a little bit on that, because I do see Trump as the outsider that they did not want. They just wanted to set it up as Hillary, Jeb Bush, or Romney, or who have you, and then it didn't matter to them. Vote for which puppet on which hand. So I've got to keep a little faith in that. Although there's plenty of room to criticize Trump, absolutely. So it's all fair game. We're all still trying to find the answer.
About the COVID vaccine. Like, why does he not admit that the COVID vaccine has hurt people and that it wasn't a great accomplishment? In this, why does he still brag about it? If he is a good guy, looking at
right. I think he plays both sides, but I mean, on the other, looking at the other angle, he did put RFK in there, so he does have somebody who is doing something about big pharma, allegedly, hopefully. Some people are saying maybe he's compromised, or other people are sabotaging his agenda too. I don't know. So I do like what he's done with, Tulsi Gabbard's doing some good work. I still have faith in Kash Patel. At least, there is an illusion where I can still try to believe that things are going to work out for America. It's what I've always thought, is that, Trump could be out retired, but he actually volunteered to try to save America. But the corrupt elites, want to take him out. I don't know, but I mean,
I think we'll agree, we can disagree on that. Agree to disagree on that. Yeah, I think in a lot of ways too, Trump is like what Obama was to the left. Like, Obama was this outsider. Nobody had ever really heard of him, and he was coming in with all these radical things that he was going to shake up. He was, change was his motto, and they had those those Shepherd Ferry posters that were very kind of communist looking. but the left believed that this guy was going to really shake up the system. He was going to close Guantanamo Bay. He was going to end the foreign wars. He ended up killing more people with drones and kept Guantanamo Bay open. And
Yeah.
he was going to repeal and end the Patriot Act. He didn't. He was going to stop the NSA wiretapping. It's like those same promises are like on the other side of Trump. He's going to drain the swamp. He's going to defeat the deep state. But in reality, none of that happens. And that's where I think it is this illusion where they get people caught up into it and thinking that one of these two parties is in their corner and fighting for their interests. And I think they're fighting for the interest of the 1% elite, bloodline psychopaths, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, you could absolutely be right. And that was kind of my philosophy for a long time. And I'm still trying to keep some faith with Trump. But yeah, we'll see what happens with these investigations, whether anything comes out of the Epstein or the Russia hoaxers, because now it is shown that they were internally went out to sabotage Trump. So I don't know if they would have done something like this to Jeb Bush. Would they have gone to this length to try to smear him as colluding with Russia?
But like all that stuff, but all that makes him look like the outsider, right? Isn't that like that helps reaffirm that belief? Like if they were like, we're fine with Trump, he's been a reality star. Like if the left didn't have this crazy reaction to him and they weren't constantly going after him, it wouldn't sell it to those that want to believe that he is really an outsider shaking up the system, going after, the evil deep state. The fact that there's, criminal, Fulton County brought charges against him and, they've impeached him and they're trying to impeach him again. And they're trying to constantly arrest him and the Russiagate, constantly trying to fight him and discredit him. Like, it's just, you see that the media has never treated a president like this. And we know the media, like things like Operation Mockingbird, they're all infiltrated by alphabet agencies.
Yeah,
but by the three-letter agencies.
They hate Trump. But I mean, going to Russiagate, taking him off the field for 2 years, and kind of pinning him down and interrogating him and his whole family and his associates.
I don't. To me, it's just like it's professional wrestling, man. It's like when the Undertaker and Jake the Snake. It's like when the cameras aren't on, they're hanging out, they're friends. But of course, when the cameras are on, it's like I'm gonna smash you. I'm gonna you disrespected my wife or whatever the narrative is of that that role playing, that fiction. I think that's what this is. It's this fiction of like they're really coming after and they're going to get them. And that's not to say there's not real true believers like in Congress and in the Senate and in the Democrat Party, of course. I mean, I think they truly believe that Trump is Hitler and an evil dictator, and they have to do everything they can to take him out. I mean, the Trump derangement syndrome is a real phenomenon, but also I think the Trump savior syndrome is a real phenomenon. And I think both are psychoses. That's how you say that word. Psychosis.
Let's roll with it. I like it. All right.
Well, so these quote Russiagate hoaxers, are there people actually in jail right now? Have there been people arrested for propagating that hoax? Or like honestly, I don't know. I really haven't been following the story that closely. So.
Oh, okay. Well, Tulsi Gabbard. So they found like this burn bag of this evidence. Knowing that they cooked up the Russia scandal. So they knew that the Steele dossier and some of this evidence was suspicious, but they used it anyway so that they could undermine Trump and basically destroy him and then paint this picture that he was, on the Kremlin payroll and that he was, on Putin's Putin's
right.
bench.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm familiar with Russiagate in general, but like, have there been actual arrests like in like in terms of you're saying like release them, have there been people actually incarcerated or are they bringing charges against anybody and what would those charges be?
Treason. Yeah. Like the seditious conspiracy. They can't go past the statute of limitations because it's still ongoing. They're still conspiring to act like, Russia colluded with the Russians, but they're going to go to a grand jury and I guess they're going to take it down to Florida so they don't have their home security there in DC, where they would they would get away with whatever they wanted to. So that could lead to something. Now it's not necessarily going to go to Obama because he has immunity. But it could absolutely target Hillary Clinton and John Brennan and Jim Comey, because it looks like they absolutely conspired. They went against the intelligence community assessment that they had, where it said that there was no collusion going on, but they still went with that anyway. They used the information they wanted, discarded the rest, threw their own kind of, intelligence community under the bus to go with their preferred narrative, to support Hillary, and also to get the heat off of her because she was dealing with the email scandal, and then just twist the whole
Blake,
thing.
I wouldn't hold your breath.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hold your breath, but
okay, all good. No worries.
I admire your optimism, but I wouldn't hold your breath.